Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. Trust we are doing fine. So, today we have someone very special in our midst, and I'm very glad because it is such a great opportunity, to bring her to, speak to us this afternoon. Her name is Mrs. Peace Anomnese, and she's an accredited management trainer. One of the things that inspire me about her is, her spirit. She's always, training. She's always training management, member of staff, and I'm so moved by her work. Generally, as lawyers, we know that we advise our clients most of the time on succession planning for their business. But I'm not sure, I don't want to generalize now since I don't have the statistics. I'm not sure that lawyers generally take it seriously to plan the succession of their own legal practice. Because what I notice is most lawyers, after they've, tried their best to build the best legal practice, they still build their legal practice around themselves, like just the principal. So if anything happens, it means that no other person apart from the main man can take it up and continue the legacy. And as lawyers, we advise clients against it. We help them to put proper structure, to whatever they are doing. And I think that as lawyers, we should also take this, you know, we should take it seriously. So that is why Mrs. Peace Anomnese is here today, a chartered management trainer, for her to teach us how exactly we can do it, how we can plan the succession of our law practice. Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you for honoring our
Thank,
invitation. You have the floor.
and thank you for having me. So, how many minutes do I have so that I'll know how to run through my slides?
You have 20 minutes, Ma.
Okay, all right, that's fine. Thank you so much. Thank you for this opportunity, okay, to share from my wealth of experience. And management training is something I find so interesting, okay, because this is the only opportunity that you have to impact knowledge, change mindset, and then be able to, make impact. So, without wasting much time, succession planning for your law practice, because I want to use this example, which is familiar to us when we talk about succession planning, and it's part of system and structure that you put in place. It's like moving into the future to go and then make some plan and then bringing it to the present. You don't wait for that time to come for you to start running helter and skelter. You have to make you have to be intentional about your succession of your law practice. I remember when I was working with a real estate firm. And once our group MD, once he traveled, it will be as if we are not doing anything until he returns back. He's the one that signs all the check, gives all the direction and everything. The moment he's out of Nigeria, we'll just come to work and everybody will laugh, work, nothing, and then we'll go back. And then one day I approached him. I said, sir, we can't continue like this. You need to put some form of system and structure in place, and you need to start training who will succeed you now. Because except you just want to run this business in your lifetime, but if you intend to leave a legacy and you intend this business to run outside of your outside of your presence, then you must put some form of system and structure together, and you need to start making plan for your succession planning. And he was shocked. He said he has never thought about it before. I said, you need to scan through, whether through the staff, through your family, to know who you need to train. Somebody that you need to, reproduce your mindset, the design, and the creativity that you bring into the real estate, so that you will, in your absence, this person understand your choice of location, what you need to do at every point in time, the kind of design, how you want to satisfy your customer, because that is what you are translating to the person. And then he scanned through his family, and then he was able to start training his cousin at the time. As we speak, that company, the branch of the company is in UK, is being managed by that his cousin. So you can imagine if that was not in place, And now, in his absence, he has also put some structures in place that in his absence, some staff can sign the check of the company and then make some transfer, and the business runs even in his absence. And that is what succession planning does for us. Okay, so when we talk about succession planning, what's the rationale behind it? It's fundamental to the success of your legal practice. Okay, very, very fundamental. And like in 2018, Thomas Ritter's survey shows that only 38% of law firms actually make plans for their succession, or even some that are creating it. And because most times we don't even expect the unexpected, some uncertainties, things can happen. We are not planning to be sick tomorrow. We are not planning to die tomorrow. But what if it happens? These are uncertainties. These are things that you don't have control over. Except you just want to run a solo practice and then after you are gone is no more. No, but I believe that business should not be there like that. Otherwise, Coca-Cola will still not be here today. Coca-Cola is still running. The founders are no longer here, but the business is still growing. The business is still there. There is sustainability because there is proper system and structure that has been put in place to outlive the founders. Now, the question I want to ask us this morning is, do you want your law firm to run in your absence, to outlive you? If your answer to this question is yes, then this webinar is for you. But if you just want your business to die with you, I can advise you that maybe you can log out because this is not for you. But for those people who has chosen that I want to build a legacy that will outlive me, even in my absence, my law firm will still run. Let's go through this together. Okay, so Abibo, if you don't mind, I want to start going through the slides now. Okay, so I'm on the second page, the rationale behind, yes. So succession planning is fundamental to the success of your legal practice. Like I mentioned earlier about the survey that was done in 2018. So only 38%. And that's why when you see all these big law firms, they are not just making the money because they are big, but because clients know that their cases will not suffer. They know that there are management that even in the absence of one, another person is there to take up the practice. So because clients are more particular about their cases, if it's just one person and that person is no more, that means that that's the end of that case. And if that person that is handling that case does not have enough information or a way of storing information that in the absence of that person, you'll be able to retrieve some information, it means that that case will be dead. Whoever that is starting that case, we need to start all over again. I remember there is this man that died somewhere around Apapa. The client said, because they reached out to me for me to continue from where the man stopped. So I asked the client for some certain information. They are not able to get it. They said he has contacted the secretary. The secretary says that their organ has a way of storing information. It doesn't. So that was the end. All the document that the client handed over to that man, that was the end. We have to start all over again. I'm sure that nobody wants to experience that. And so as lawyers, we need to start building a successful succession planning for our practice. One of the things I counsel people is about putting system and structure together as a lawyer. Let even from you need to set down the system of operation for your business, so that in your absence, anybody that comes in will have a form of orientation, understand your mindset, your vision, how you relate to your client. It must be documented. Unfortunately, we don't even know that it could act as also an advisory services for us lawyers. People can come to you to structure their succession planning. So if you don't know how to do yours, it will be difficult for you to do another person's own. So if you sit down, it's like a Herculean task. It's not easy. But if you're able to run through yours, you'll be able to provide that services. And I can assure you, people that come to lawyers to pay for succession planning, they pay a huge sum of money, because it's not something you just do in a day. You have to factor into the operations of the law firm, so many things, operations of the business, depending on the client that comes to you. Okay, next slide, please. So it's very, very important that you know how to run through it. Okay, very, very important. So it also gives you the peace of mind. It ensures security and protection of your clients. And your client will not be left in crisis regarding their legal needs because they know that you will always be there. The informations are there. But in your absence, if the informations are there, it's become very difficult to track it. I learned something from the lady I work with. Then she was the legal director. I was the deputy director as at that time. She went on maternity leave. There was this document we were looking for. And it happened, it was that day she delivered, she was in US, she gave birth. And then the group MD was like, how can we call this woman that just gave birth today? How will she be able to tell us where this document is? The moment we put a call across to her, she told me, please go to my system, open so and so place, open so and so place. You will see what you are looking for. I was shocked. When I opened her system, each and every department, all the subsidiaries, we have more than 7 subsidiaries. Each subsidiaries, they have their own file. Everything she has done regarding that subsidiary, each of them is documented and saved. IT department saved, HR department saved, all of the subsidiary, each of them. So anything regarding that you want to check, you will see. That is how somebody who wants to pass on the baton, who wants to pass on the leadership role, that's how we should all be seen as lawyers, very coordinated, so that files, informations within our care, within our custody, another person will be able to find it. So today, by the end of this, all the participants will be able to define succession planning, discuss law firm succession planning, identify reasons for creation of a law firm, okay, and discuss how to build a law firm succession plan, choose a succession strategy based on their goals, and develop a compensation structure for themselves. Sorry, that is not for successor, for themselves, because you need to monetize your own value, that you have built over the years. So the compensation structure must be there. You use legal technology, especially like what digital network services is doing, because it's all about collecting information and data. Then apply the knowledge in planning succession of your legal practice. So for the introduction, I said that succession planning is a strategy for continuity of a business and establishing a legacy. So if you must continue in the business, if you must establish a legacy, you need succession planning. And it thrives on the foundation of a solid system and structure for efficient operation and transition of a business. It's difficult for you to do something that you have not put your pen and paper together on. But if you're able to write it, even the Holy Book, the Bible says that make the vision plain so that he that runs will see it. So it's very, very important. If you're able to put it down, it becomes difficult, very easy for you to run through it. Okay, so I continue with the introduction. It gives protection for your employees. In the event that anything happens, they are still there. Your clients in law practice, it gives protection for them. And it acts as a client retention strategy, because the information that you are collating, you'll be able to, refer to them at every point in time. It also attracts potential clients into your law practice, because once you made it known that you have such form of arrangement, it will be easy for them, okay, to be able to, subscribe to your services. So this morning, here are the course content that we'll be looking at. What is law firm succession planning? Why should you create a law firm succession plan? How to build a law firm succession plan? How to give clients time for transition and develop a compensation structure? Then use of legal technology, and then conclusion. So when we talk about succession planning, what is it? It's a process and strategy for replacement planning or passing on leadership roles. And it's used to identify and develop new potential leaders who can move into the leadership roles when they become vacant. Like I mentioned to you, you see some law firm. I know a law firm in Nigeria today that his law firm, the branch in Lagos, nobody knows that he's not the one that is running it. He's a lawyer, another lawyer that is running it. He's in Abuja. As we speak, he's even old. But that practice is run. If I mention his name, everybody, but for security reasons, I don't want to mention his name. People don't know that he's no longer active. It's these young lawyers that he's using to run the practice. So it helps you to identify and develop new potential leaders. These ones, they understand what your view about legal practice. So in your absence, they will take it up, that vision, that mission. It's also the process of identifying critical position within your organization. If you notice that a particular position is very, very critical, that in the absence of it, maybe once there is vacant, it's going to cause problem in the business. So you start early to train one or two people, so that in the absence of one, another person is already fitting into that role. Okay, very important. So next slide. Very, very important that we identify some critical positions within our organizations. Next slide. So I call it LFSP, that's law firm succession planning. What does it mean for solo and small law firm? It's a business strategy. It involves developing a formal process of transitioning of your practice to another attorney or to another law firm, or even to close it. And the rationale behind this is that you are doing it to protect yourself, protect your firm, protect your clients, and even protect your employees where applicable. I'm sure some of us that I remember that a lot in the past months now, so many people has been singing the song of Japa. Everybody is singing the song of Japa. So now that you want to Japa, what happens to your clients? So, but if you have a law firm succession plan in place, you will see that you will still with of course the use of technology, you can still be having an online meetings with them as if though that you are still there, but their cases will still be managed by someone you have handed it over to. But if you are closing and if you are relocating and you don't have a succession planning, that becomes the end of that. Those clients will move to another law firm automatically. But when you have a succession plan, you still maintain strategy of controlling and managing their portfolios. All right, so let's move to the next slide. Okay, so we have types of succession planning. One, you can sell your business to a co-owner. So it's another type. So you can decide which of them that you want to work for you. You have the passing your business to an heir. That means it could be your children, it could be a family relative, but it's just somebody that you know that this person can handle it. Selling your business to a key employee. That's if you know that that person can handle it. Selling your business to an outside party, somebody that is not part of it, but you know that by form of a contractual arrangement, that the succession planning can be arranged. Or selling your shares back to the company is another way of plan is part of we have the 5 types of planning your succession. So you choose one that will work for you. And before you choose one, we have some tips to help you. One, you need to start early. If you don't start early, it means that if the unexpected happens, it will be difficult for you to start planning. So start early. As we speak, start now. After this webinar, start. Make it a gradual process until you get to the end of it. Be honest about it and harness your senior workers' expertise where you have one, and have a sensible, open conversation that are very, very important. In that way, you will know who to hand over what. Identify who have expertise in litigation, expertise in commercial practice, expertise in real estate. This helps you to know who you will be able to live with the departmental management when you are no longer there. Develop your deputies, develop them, send them on trainings, start early. Because if you don't start early and they meet up with some form of challenges that they're not able to handle, it will be difficult for them to deal with it. Okay? Find an effective way for generations to learn from each other. It must be part of the plan, so that generations to come, they'll find the effective way of learning from each other. Explore all options. Before you will choose one, explore all of them. Put the pen and paper together, check weigh the consequences, the one that works best for you. Especially, okay, you ask yourself, do I have children? My children, are they interested in running my law practice? Is any of them a lawyer? So you weigh different options and see the one that works for you. Keeping it in the family might not be easy, so you need to accept that. Because if you don't accept it, you will hold on. Oh, this is a family business. It's a family law firm. No. But you need to accept that sometimes your children might not be interested in what you are doing. I remember that my boss is saying, but please, my children are not even interested in real estate. So he had to accept that the children they do not want to, allow his legacy. So he had to go outside of his immediate family to look for somebody who is interested in real estate. Develop to learn to let it go. It's a mindset. If you're not able to do that, you will hold on to it. Be flexible is another tip. Be very, very flexible in your arrangement for succession planning, and give it time that it deserves, because it's not going to just happen in a day. It takes time. So give it all the time that it needs. So the next slide is, why should you create a law firm succession planning? Why? It is essential for expected and unexpected. Very, very essential. Why should I create it? It's very, very essential. One, for your retirement. When you retire, I remember I'm speaking with one of our old lawyers, member of our platform, female lawyers in real estate practice. She told me that she has retired, that her children wants her to relocate to US. I said, what about your law firm? So these are the people, because to her, she said, what can she do? That the children said she should come over. That means that the moment she relocates, that becomes the end of that firm. Then all the employees, everybody will find their way. But it shouldn't be so. There should be somebody in that firm who should carry on with that legacy at retirement. Unexpected crisis might happen. You've seen where people are going to work, and on their way to work, they have an accident that will cripple them, and they will be on bed for years. So unexpected can happen. Even though we don't pray, we are not a prophet of doom. But the truth is that all these things happen. Clients and employees, how will they be secured at the end of the day? Okay. So number two, why you should create LFSP. You don't want to leave your clients and business in a lurch, in such a way that you just end it abruptly without a proper notice. So you consider your clients, consider your employees. For solo lawyers, you can look for a fiduciary management relationship, somebody who can manage that in your absence. And then make access to essential documents in the case of emergency. Very, very important. Why should you create a LFSP? Number three, is integral part of succession strategy. Is the integral part of it. If your business is successful, not necessarily because of profit, but it's measured by its sustainability to outlive you, the founder. And it adds value to your law firm practice. It prevents disruption that is caused by conflict and uncertainties. And it helps you to determine clients to be transitioned in the coming year, because you already know, okay, these are our clients. The case in court might take like 2 years. So you start making plan that continuity of this case, we need to transition this client. And mitigation of potential profit loss is also part of what you consider. Number four reason why you should create an LFSP. It's one of the things that insurance company they consider when they are making evaluation for your risk evaluation in your firms. Because when they consider, which of the lawyers are likely to leave in the next 6 months, in the next 2 months, and all that, so these are key risk evaluations. Because if you have these senior lawyers handling major cases, and you don't have any plan for the junior lawyers, the associate, to take over, it's a risk for your firm. So, but with succession planning, you'll be able to, allow for the transition of these roles. It sets you up for retirement. That's number 5th reason why we need to create LFSP. It sets you up for retirement. So at the retirement stage, you have peace of mind. You can maximize your financial rewards, because like I mentioned, you create a compensation plan. Even though you're in your absence, there's some form of founder's fee that is coming to you. Law firm exit strategy is one of the exit strategy you can create. And it's also, of course, your legacy. That's one of the reasons that you create it. Because in the absence of that, it becomes very, very difficult for you to establish a legacy. How do we now build a law firm succession plan? No one plans to fall sick or to die. But succession plan helps you to establish and build an ongoing succession. So number one thing you should do while building your law succession plan, keep your ethical obligations in mind, so that you know what your firm stands for, the values, that this will guide you into the kind of people or even a law firm that you want to, build that relationship with. Okay, so it will help you to build the succession planning. And this will now help you to develop the content of your succession plan. What should be in the content? Written instruction on how and where information should be stored. So when you have a written instruction on how and where the information should be stored, everybody that is coming into the firm or whoever that is coming into partnership with you will also, continue with that tradition. Critical information regarding your law firm, how it should be stored. contract details with vendors and all the companies your firm works with. All of them must be there. And how to have an access to technology account, your computers, your law practice management software, and also other tech tools that you use. And then compensation detail for the successor, so that you know what you are paying the successor at the end of the day, or what the firm will be paying. So it's there. And one of the things I also advise is, in making the compensation details for the successor, also put it in such a way that it reflects the dollar rate at every point in time. Because the dollar rate in 2013 is not the same as in 2022. So in such way, you encourage whoever that is taking over that role, so that the person knows that it will increase, it will continue to increase. Number two, in creating your law firm succession plan, create a law firm transition checklist. It's very, very important. List of all your clients. I want to ask you, if you're on this firm, if you're on this webinar, you don't have list of your clients, you don't have their contact info, you don't have even all their cases, the type of cases you are handling, the status of the case, the type of the fee arrangement you have with them, current of the status. If it's 100% that you made arrangement, maybe they have paid 50%. Well, do you have the track record of all this? So this is where digital lawyers can help collect the above information, assuming you want to, do it now. Because it's important that after this webinar, and I'm sure that the slides will be made available, so that you will take it and go through it one by one. List all your clients, all of them, their contact info, the cases you're handling with them, the status of the case, how far. What you know to build that table, build the table that will reflect all these informations. Okay, so record of all your password and logins is also difficult, because if you don't have it, that's why you see people, when they die, the wife will say, I don't have anybody out. There's nobody that will access that information. So, but you should have a where you keep all those contact information, the login and electronic, all the electronic logins. Very, very important. All your law firm's financial information, put it in a place. And malpractice insurance, whatever you are doing, the code of conduct for lawyers. Be sure that whether you as a lawyer, as a solo lawyer, or as a small law firm, that you are not engaged in any form of malpractice. If you want to build a succession plan, because the records will be there to speak against your legacy. So it's important that you do away with any form of malpractices. Leases and vendors informations, especially the tenant agreements you have in your place where your office is. When is it going to expire? Put all those documentation in place, so that tomorrow the landlords, when the landlord have a new lawyer, they're writing to you, and you are no longer there. Your law firm will be able to access the information and say, no, this was not what we agreed in the tenancy agreement. But if you're not able to access the information, you will work with the information that is available to you. Okay, so access to any additional factors needed to log into your digital account is very, very important. How to build your succession plan. Number 3, appoint a triage lawyer. What they do is that someone or a law firm, you will authorize to close, sell, or transfer your legal practice in your absence. They work like trustees in your absence, but you have some form of agreement with them, so that in the absence of you not being in practice, or any uncertainty happening, so these people will take over the arrangement and make sure that everything that you agreed with them is implemented to the letters. Okay, so you create a detailed written agreement defining the relationship and duties of these lawyers, and highlight if the lawyer will represent your interests or your client, and consider potential conflict of interest in the event that it comes up. Okay, so one thing I also want to mention is that your agreement that will authorize the lawyer in writing to reach out to clients for instructions on transferring of their files. So put that agreement in place, that letter of authority that will reach out to your clients. Also draft letters for contacting clients and getting authorization to release their various files. You cannot just release their files without first contacting them if they want their files to be released. Okay, so it's important that you have this information. Number 4, how to build a law firm succession plan. Gather key information in one place. Gather all the key information in one place. And this is different from the transition list that we mentioned earlier. This relates to your day-to-day law practice activities. So put them in place. All the external vendors and partners, They should be informed during the transition or closing your practice, and confirm if you are transferring their details or closing with them. You need to give them that information, ample notice. This is what is happening. Do you want us to continue, or do you want us to close with you or transfer your details to another? Because you cannot just do that without their authority. Okay. Another key thing is your business record, which is in the next slide. Your business record, it should include all the leases and contracts for your office space, office equipment, office services, software providers, if you are using one, insurance policies that you have entered into, make them available, staff names and contact information. And as lawyers, also the people that are authorized to access encrypted or passworded protected files. So you put their names there. For your bank information, if you have one or two people that are assigned as mandates, so also put their information so that whoever that is coming will also have access to all this information. So number 5, on how to build a law firm succession planning, store your sensitive information securely. You should store your information, sensitive information, store it very securely. Sometimes you might need to deposit it in bank, or you might have somebody in your family that can have access to it in the event that anything happens. And also create like a storage location where you can put all the client's information that are confidential, so that you don't make it public. Things that are supposed to be confidential now becoming public. Okay. So how do you now choose your succession strategy? 2 things that comes to your mind is when you retire. Do you want to make it when you retire? You want to structure it to reflect that when you retire, this is when this will take place. Or if something suddenly unable to, you are unable to work due to emergency. So you choose either of these strategies. But in whether you choose to retire or when you something unexpected happens, all these things are what you put into consideration. Do you want to close the firm? That's the next slide. Do you want to close the firm, or you want to create a partnership with another solo or small law firm, or you want to pick a successor, or you want to sell your legal practice? These are the things you put into consideration. Now that I have retired, or now that I want to, that things that happen, I'm unable to continue. Do I want to now close it? Which one do I want? And another thing we'll consider, give your clients time for the transition. Most times, what a client speak is the lawyer, not necessarily the law firm. Let me use an example. When Gani Fawemi was alive, people are not really choosing Gani Fawemi law firm. They are choosing him in practice. He's the one they identify with. So because there are some clients that have that mindset, working with a particular individual. So it's important that you give them enough notice to get used to the new arrangement. You need to give them that confidence that with or without your absence, that their interest is paramount. Okay, good transition solidifies the relationship. So you develop a compensation structure for yourself because it's part of your legacy. You need to create a compensation plan for yourself that will reflect your years of hard work. Okay, I'm on the other slide. That will reflect your years of hard work. You need to monetize it, like we call it the founder's fee. You need to monetize it and have a good written agreement and arrangement between you and your future partners. I'm on the next slide, Abby. I'm on the next slide. Okay. So you need to develop it. If you decide to work occasionally or as a consultant, you reflect it on the agreement. I'm currently consulting with a Tom Associate. The founder of Tom Associate does not come every day. He has handed over that management to another person. But occasionally he comes. There are some kind of training that they will have. They will call him because they know that he's an expert in that area. So you now retain, your agreement should reflect whether you want to become a occasional consultant, or you still want to, you want to just decide to hands off completely. So this should be form of it should form part of the agreement, your compensation structure. And then finally, use legal technology. All of the things we mentioned can be a Herculean task, but you need a legal technology to simplify the process. And it starts by keeping your data. Unfortunately, in Nigeria, when we talk about data, we don't have a good storing information system in Nigeria. And data has come to stay. It has a lot to do with your client retention, service retention, even how to develop new business structure for your business. Very, very important. And in conclusion, I want to say, next slide, that LFSP can be an overwhelming and a Herculean task, but it involves a huge time investment. You need to, that's why we advise you start early, start now. Don't say, oh, how many clients do I have? It's even better that you, now that you don't have much, so that as you start now to make your succession plan, as your client base increases, you will increase the information, input the informations there. Choose various options and understand what works for you. And coaching and mentoring your successor, it takes time. So plan early to start the mentoring exercise. Do you know that most of these law firms that graduate from being a junior to associate, partners, and all that, the reason why they stay is because they can see future. You have a future for them. And that's what succession plan does. Because they will look into the future of your firm and they can see themselves. So, but if you are making planning and the plan revolves only around you, that's why you see them, they exit. We call it the corporate japa. It's not the international japa now. It's the corporate japa. When they see that you're not making any plan for them, you see them, they japa to another law firm. So it's also a part of retention of your good employees. So how would you like to be remembered? What legacy would you like to be known for? Start building the legacy now with a good system and structure. So with this, I come to the end of this. And I hope you have taken a lot of information this morning. Thank you so much, Abby, for having me. It's my pleasure.
Thank you so much for the powerful presentation. Personally, I learned a lot. Like I was carried away. I was carried away. I learned a lot. And one major thing that I have realized is that most of the big law firms we know in Nigeria, they're not actually maybe big because of some other things, but I think they have a proper succession plan for their law practice. Just like what you just said, a lot of their associates can see future in the firm. So they know that when they give their all, they can go up the career ladder and they can also become partners. So why wouldn't they give their best? Why wouldn't they deliver their best? But I think one of the challenges we have in Nigeria is that we have a lot of solo lawyers, and most solo lawyers don't see beyond themselves. And what I tell people is generally, it's not easy except you are, well, for some people it's fast, except you are born with a silver spoon, you already have a great network and all that. So it takes, like, let's say 5 to 10 years for you to build the law firm of your dream or the law practice of your dream. To 10 years to your age at the bar when you actually were called to the bar and all that, and then you begin to practice, and God forbid something happens. Are you going to throw those 10, 15, 20 years, away just like that? And what happens in such situations is that a new junior that you just employed might just inherit everything. Like all the 15, 20 years of sweat. Since there's no succession plan, I actually know a colleague that where I think we went to law school together, and a lawyer, they were going to collect their files. There was no plan. He didn't even know how to navigate because he was so young at the bar. Sincerely, that was how he started his law practice, because there was no succession plan. He just had to go and rent an office. All the clients, because he was the only lawyer working with him, they just, went to, they were going there, collecting their files, bringing it to him. And I believe that man practically inherited that legal practice. So the owner of the legal practice could have done more for himself and his family if he had a good succession plan. So most of the big law firms in Nigeria, they are big because they have a good succession plan. Thank you so much. I've learned a lot. Let's ask if there are questions. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for your comments. Let's ask if there are questions. Personally, I have learned a lot. And I believe a lot of lawyers too, they have learned a lot from this lecture. So do you have questions, comments, observations before we release our speaker this afternoon. We want to take your questions. Okay, thank you, Ma. Thank you for the precise and interesting lecture. Okay. It's very straightforward. So we are going to make the slides available. We are going to make the slides available. If you are interested, you can just comment interested. So I want to appreciate you on behalf of the Digital Lawyers Network. We say a very big thank you to you for finding time, despite your busy schedule, to honor our
Mm.
invitation. You have been a blessing to us. We've learned a lot today. And someone is asking a question. What is your advice for lawyers in public service?
Okay. For lawyers in public service, can you hear me? For lawyers in public service, you know
Yes.
that you are still under employment and you have not started your own practice. So it's until when you start your practice that you start, because what are you succeed? What do you want to pass on? You can't give what you don't have. As you are working under a public employment, you are employed under you're under employer, so you don't have anything to pass on. So you wait until you start. Is when you start, that's when you will, start structuring your succession planning, because this is someone for solo and then for small law firms. And I always tell lawyers, please don't do your law practice as a hustling business. If we get a client, we do, and after that, no. Structure it from day one. Have a business card. I attended a meeting with some lawyers, and I noticed that some of them don't have a business card. They don't have a business card, and it shouldn't be so. So your practice should be excellent in the way you are running it, starting from who are my clients, what are the standard operating procedure of this law firm, what is our vision, what is our mission, what is what value are we bringing to the table. The fact that there are too many law firms in Nigeria does not mean that there is no specific need that your own law firm or your law practice must address. You need to create a niche. It's when you create that niche, you start serving your clients in that manner. Even though that there might be a general practice, but be known for something. Okay? Like if you mention Abi now, everybody talks about digital. We know we can link her to digital practice. If you mention my name, people can link me to real estate and management consulting. That does not mean that I don't do any other thing. But find a business solution to the large market that you solve. So this is what you will now pass on, that legacy that you are being known for over the years. Because there's something we used to say when we're in school, that when you are talking to everybody, you are talking to nobody. That means that if you structure your business or your law practice that, we do all general practice and all that, yes, it's fine. But why do doctors prosper in their own endeavors? Because you have a gynae that someone can easily refer you, oh, see this gynae. We have a pediatrician, see this pediatrician. But you as a lawyer, what can you be referred to? So when you identify this, it helps you to create that niche. When you run your law firm, even though you provide general services, but also be known for something. These are what attracts your customer, your target customers to you. So wait until you are out of that employment, start building your practice. And whatever training or whatever experience you are gaining from that public practice, you can also translate it to become a service. You become a service provider to government agencies, So it can help you to build your practice on that. Thank you.
For that question, please let me ask a question too. How would you
Okay.
advise solo lawyers who think that they want to retain so much control in their legal practice? Because I would use myself as an example. When I started my law practice, I started as a solo lawyer. Then after some time, I realized that I needed people to come on board, but I could not afford to pay them well. So my strategy was to bring people that are of the same vision and minds and work together so that we'll be able to deliver the best service to our clients while we are also trying to, be economical and everything. So that was what I did. But I realized that a lot of lawyers, they some of the lawyers, let me say some of the lawyers I spoke with, they were trying to, discourage me. You don't you want to retain so much, don't you want to retain so much control in your
Clients.
firm? Do you just want to get partners like that? Yes, no, I mean for the partners, do you get it? So anyway, I brought in a partner, and my strategy is still I tell them they know for the other people that are just working with us that are not yet partners. It's like you said, they can see their future. They can see that, oh, if we give in this, then we can also attain this. But I know a number of lawyers that discouraged me, and they still feel that I am jumping the gun. They still feel that I'm forward. They feel that you should be able to retain absolute control in your legal practice. So what would you say about that, Ma?
Thank you for that question. And there's one of the training I addressed sometime about mindset. You know, the fact that a norm has come to be does not mean that that norm is correct or is the proper mindset. Okay. Now, the first question you ask yourself, why am I in business? I am in business to make profit. I am in business to satisfy customers' needs. And irrespective of whether I'm the one in control, is the immaterial. What is important that the more we service clients, the more our scope is, our portfolios are enlarged. So the people that are telling you find a way to retain control, I'm not sure that the types of JEE, Jackson, Etienne, and Edu, Consolos Law Firm, Alex, and all that, that is not their mindset. If they have operated the mindset, let me retain control, the business wouldn't have been expanded the way it is today. It's a mindset. If you need to grow, you need people that will put your hands. And I love what you did. It's not about, when you talk about success in business, you talk about teamwork. That means you need people that will be able to bring in their expertise for you to be able to solve solutions. And one of the reasons why solo or small law firms or even startups fail is because they're trying to do everything themselves. It's not going to be possible, not even in the present world. Collaboration in practice and partnership is very, very important. If you must grow your clientele base, then you need to bring in people to make it work. And because I also deal with, in my capacity, bids and tendering. So when organizations send for bids and tendering, and I have the opportunity to consult on that, most times in our evaluation team, one of the key factors where we look at is the firms that have done this thing before. And also, once we have seen the firm that have done it before, another page we look at the executive proposal is the management. Who are the personnel? Who are the team handling this? We look at their capacity to be able to handle that project. And once we're able to identify that, we award the contracts to them. So imagine if you are doing, or let me retain the control. When you present, when you apply for bids and tendering, and another person who apply and have all the management, people who are qualified with so much experience, and also they apply, they are the ones that are likely to get the contract. So I want to allow us from this webinar to change that mindset of let me retain the control or that. No, it does not work in that way. If your business must grow, if your law firm practice must grow, then you need to get in people who does not have what you have. So you can harness all these values together to be able to serve your clients. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I am very grateful. Thank you. On behalf of the Digital Lawyers Network and everybody, we are saying a big thank you. We appreciate your time. We appreciate your industry. God bless you. Thank you so much, Ma.
Welcome.
Have a
It's my
lovely
pleasure.
afternoon.
You
Bye
too. Bye.
bye. Bye.